Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many great bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or single-barrel bourbon with help from one of their friendly guides. And every bottle comes with the confidence of knowing you found something amazing. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More. Visit TotalWine.com to learn more. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Welcome. What would you say to someone going up against a professional boxer who has never fought before and only has 60 seconds to prepare?
Get it to the ground. Wrestle him.
Dude, I love that.
Dude,
I love that.
Like, you see some people get in fights, and like I said, grappling, like my kids, they do jiu-jitsu, and I tell them, I was like, guys, you can never compensate for 15 years of learning how to manipulate their body.
Three, two, one. Let's get ready to rumble. And welcome back to the AFK Thunderdome. Slap on those mitts, pop on those jock straps, because today, good Lord, we have the MMA master, the fighting phenom, the one, the only, Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson. Joining us today. Get ready to witness greatness, folks. This man isn't just a UFC legend. He's a force of nature in the octagon. Johnson's accolades include being the inaugural UFC Flyweight Champion with a jaw-dropping 11 consecutive title defenses. A feat that cemented his status as one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. But wait, there's more. He also is a podcast host, a family man, and a gaming aficionado who streams under the name Mighty and slangs his mighty meat wisdom on his OnlyFans page. No nudity, just epic fight breakdowns. So buckle up, because we're about to dive into the extraordinary world of Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson. All right, hell yeah, bro. Dude, how have you been?
Good, man. Good. Just busy with life, kids, training, business. Yeah, just grinding. Just grinding, baby.
Dude, I love it. We'll jump into everything, man. But first, what better way to hop into this? First off, thank you for coming, obviously, number one. But what better way to hop into this juicy little show, this juicy little podcast, and jump into some of the news that we can't not address, especially since obviously this is exactly in your line of work, brother. The Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight being canceled, dude. I would love to know your just initial thoughts on it.
You know, it sucks, obviously, because I wanted to see Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight, just because I'm a big fan of Jake Paul. I know I'm very critical of his work. It's part of my brand. It's just my background of being a martial artist. Yeah. But I'm sad, but I'm also like, you know, at the end of the day, there's so many other boxers out there that can give Jake Paul a challenge. You know, Mike Tyson's going to be 58 years old. Obviously, he's older. And, you know, I think it's smart that they did cancel it because health reasons, because that's the last thing fucking Netflix needs is somebody getting killed on their first live streaming sporting event.
No, dude, that would be absolutely terrible, man. I mean, I wish I knew more about it. I don't know if with the Mike Tyson's issue, I wonder if it was for the strength of his training, right? I mean, he kind of just turned it on, right? They said for the first time. And
they said it was something to do with ulcers. That's what I saw on the internet. But, you know, that's also trust the internet. But when you're 57, going on 58, and you're training that hard, something's going to, you know, break or come up, you know. And I think it was like a pre-medical testing that's was
that like sparked that.
That kind of like raised a red flag. And I'm like, okay, I don't think he'll be ready to do this essentially.
Who did you think, judging from like the training videos that were coming out, right? The hype videos that were coming out, who did you have your money on? Because I know who I had my money on, but
I mean, it's boxing, right? And obviously, Mike Tyson should win. He should have won, but it's boxing, and he is older. So when you get hit, your body doesn't respond the right way. So I was going to go Mike Tyson, win or lose. That's the legend.
No, totally, man. I watched a lot of like the warm up videos, the training videos, and like just obviously I felt like Mike was just the intensity at which he was training, like the speed that he still had, right? Just everything, right? I feel like the intensity was just on another level compared to Jake's videos. And I'm not saying that Jake's not training as hard, but it just, dude, Mike's an absolute legend. And I definitely think he would have taken him out for sure. But like, it's classic Jake to go for this. Like, I feel like he's looking at, there are two types of people, I feel like, in MMA and in boxing, right? There are people that want to fight to prove that they're the best and they want to fight the best, right?
Yep.
And then there's people that just want to blow up, I feel like, right? And just kind of like steal the spotlight. And I think that Jake is doing an incredible job of the second, right? Of the latter. I feel like he's fighting these people that have never boxed before. Like they're incredible, or they were like top of their class, in their respective sport, right? Or their respected fighting style, right?
Yep.
And then he's pulling them into the boxing ring and he's trying to, he's just beating the shit out of them all. And like, I would personally like to, let's come on, man. There are plenty of boxers out there right now that you could legitimately challenge that have an actual record and that are real boxers that aren't retired, that aren't 60 years old. And I just feel like he's doing he's doing a good job, but it's blatantly obvious what to me is he's just trying to protect that record, right? He's trying to just dominate. He wants to win, and until he's ready to actually beat a legitimate top boxer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you hit it on all nails. The biggest thing, it's part of the boxing culture. So it's not just Jake Paul, but all boxers have done it. Canelo Alvarez, Floyd Mayweather, Triple G, Usyk, Tyson Fury, they all do it. They want to pad their record, and then once they feel comfortable, then every once in a blue moon, you have these big fights like Devin Haney taking on Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis taking on Ryan Garcia. There's a big fight coming up with Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin, and nobody really knows who Frank Martin is, but he's like undefeated. And so is Gervonta Davis. So many O's got to go. And I think with Jake Paul, he's basically taking a page out of all the best boxers in the world have done, which is pad your record with people who are on your level. Now, let's not take anything away from Jake Paul. I mean, he knocked out Tyron Woodley. He beat guys who've actually boxed.
Yeah.
And those guys, they're retired at 35. One of the last guy, Rhino, he was working the oil fields. He left boxing to go work in the oil field. So I'm pretty sure he's not staying sharp on his boxing. And, it's funny because he does bring a lot of eyeballs, and Netflix is willing to put that on when Netflix can literally go out there and find like legitimate like boxing athletes and like, hey, you guys are, 5-0, and we're going to give you guys opportunity to make some money on Netflix. But that's how it is with anything, right? Like if you have a following, you'll get to jump through a lot more hoops. You don't have to jump through as many hoops as a guy like me that I did. I trained since I was fucking 18 years old. I'm 38, so that's 20 years, and Netflix has never approached me to headline a fight. So it is what it is. But I think what Jake Paul is doing is smart. And he's making a lot of money. And he's also given other athletes an opportunity to make a lot of money. So I'm happy to say that.
Dude, I never thought, I didn't realize that there were a lot of other boxers that followed that path where they fought boxers that were either a little bit less than them or on their level to pad their stats and then have that big fight. So like, I'm going to give a lot more grace in the future when talking about Jake.
Oh, yeah.
In this aspect.
It's part of the culture. I had a long conversation with this with Eric Hawani, and I was like, because the mixed martial arts culture is different. Yeah. Right? Like you fight the best and you fight for pennies, right? That's kind of like my upbringing was. And I think in boxing, it's different where you fight these no-name guys, and then eventually you get your name and your brand so big, you have those big fights with Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez, and then you have, what was the biggest fight that just happened? Tyson Fury versus Usyk. And then the winner of that's supposed to fight Anthony Joshua. But now there's a rematch clause in Tyson Fury versus Usyk. And it's very rare we get to see those fights where if you look at all the last guys Usyk has fought, you don't really know who they are. I mean, he beat Anthony Joshua 2 times. That's a big fight. But it's very rare that you see big name boxers fight each other.
Dang, dude, that's dude to me, like, as somebody that comes from, bro, I'm pointing at the guy up top and taking him every single time. But like, I guess, but I mean, dude, again, the latter makes perfect sense to, continue to, you want to strengthen that hype as long as possible. I imagine, by the way, you have a much larger chance of being injured also if you're going up against the top guys, right? Which is going to take longer to get into your next fight, and.
Yeah, and you also lose that mystic aura around you. I mean, it's the same thing with Floyd Mayweather, 50-0. He would fight. He fought Canelo Alvarez when he was super young in his career, and Canelo Alvarez was undefeated. So it was a chance by Floyd, but Floyd was very good at this. Like, he would watch people, and he goes, "Oh, I know, I can beat him now. I know I can beat him," and he'll pick him and beat him. Same thing with Pacquiao. Pacquiao was the same way at one point where Pacquiao was the opposite. He would fight anybody, anytime, anywhere, any weight.
Yeah.
And he had a couple losses, but Floyd would pick and choose. He goes, okay, I'll fight Miguel Cotto. Okay, I'll fight Zab Judah. And that's when he was able to pad that record. Granted, he beat the best of the best, even when some of them were in their prime. But a lot of those guys padded their record.
Oof. All right, man. Dude, noted, bro. Come on, this is. Thank you for just enlightening me, man. I feel like such a tool for
No. It's like you said.
It's also so easy to hate on the Pauls, bro. And like I lately have been, I think they're both doing a great job. Just growing up, man, a little bit. So, but dude, interesting, man. Do you think that the fight will continue? I think they're saying it's potentially postponed, or
I think it's gonna be postponed. But here's the thing: the one thing that's going against Mike Tyson is the clock. The clock is going against Mike Tyson. Like, his reaction is not going to be as fast. How long are they postpone it? 6 months, a year? Is his health going to get better? Is it going to decline? Typically, when your health, as an athlete, when you train that hard, your immune system gets low, your body starts to break down, and you need to give your body more time to rest. But once you get back to 100% and you go back in that rigorous training, those same injuries or those same things that came up before are going to arise either sooner or later. So it's kind of interesting. We don't know the full extent of Mike Tyson's injury, what pulled him from the fight. So I think time is on our side, but it's not on Mike Tyson's side.
Pour one out, man. I would have loved to have seen that fight, and I think that everyone knows that. So,
hell yeah.
Hopefully it comes back, man. All right, dude. Let's move a little bit more about you, man. So, what initially drew you into the world of mixed martial arts?
Honestly, after I got done in high school, I was always an athlete in middle school, high school. Played sports, football, basketball, you name it. I did it. And then once I got out of high school, there was no sports, so I kind of just went into the gym and kept on lifting weights. And I was home one weekend during college, and this is when Ultimate Fighter came on TV, and I saw Sugar Rashad Evans, and he was doing a competition where you basically have to win a competition that you get to pick and choose who you fight, when you fight, etc. I saw that, and I was like, man, that looks dope. These guys can fight. I think I can do that. So I went to the gym, and I just started hitting the bag on my own. And a gentleman that I ran into in high school wrestling, he goes, hey, man, you want to know how to fight? I was like, sure, why not? And then I started taking classes Monday and Thursdays. It will be it basically combine a pancreation, and pancreation is a Greek mythology, not Greek mythology. It's Greek, and it basically encompasses all the art forms: Muay Thai, kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, everything. And I learned that, and I would take classes Monday through Thursday. Then the rest was history, man. Like, I've always been a big advocate of working out, and then when it came to to learn how to defend myself, it kind of led me down that path of mixed martial arts.
So when was your first okay, so on top, this is a Wombo combo. So when did you get into fighting, I guess. And like, when was your first fight? Like, how old were you when you had your first like legitimate fight on your record?
Yeah, so I jumped in right at 18 years old, right out of high school. You know, a lot of people say, well, that doesn't count because you wrestled.
Yeah.
And wrestling is a form of art of fighting, essentially. So I would have to go back to 8th grade. But I jumped into like actual punch people in the face when I was 18. and, and then after training for 6 months in MMA, that's when I took my first amateur fight. And I won that the first round by TKO. And then I just fell in love with it, and I just kept on doing it. I was working full time too, gaming not gaming full time, but I was gaming as well. And that's when it was just like I kept on fighting. I'll go to work. My coach was like, "Hey, you want to fight again in 2 months?" I'm like, "Sure, let's do it." Then I'll train, and then the fight will come up. I'll work, go leave work Friday, go cut weight, weigh in, and after weighing in, go home, rehydrate, drive to the venue on Saturday, fight Saturday night, go home Sunday, rest. Back to work on Monday. So it was truly a grind, and it was
literally,
yeah. I loved every bit of it because it was something that, you know, it made you kind of grow up, but it was basically a passion because I wasn't making any money. It was extracurricular activities that you would do instead of the rat race of 9 to 5 every single day, right? And that's what I loved about it. It broke that mold of, oh, I'm gonna go to work, I clock out, I go home, I drink a beer, and I watch, you know, football. Right.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't sound bad. That last part, but you know what I mean, dude. You mentioned weight cutting, bro. Talk to me about I mean, like I've heard stories and I've seen like videos, but dude, talk to me about like cutting weight, bro. Like how scale of 1 to miserable. Like, what is it like?
I mean, it can go from 1 being absolutely amazing, or it go for, you know, 10 being absolutely fucking miserable. Just depends on how you prep yourself. You know, I can tell you the people who don't prep themselves, and what they do wrong is they don't diet down to a healthy weight to cut the extra weight, or they don't water load. So to give you kind of an example, what I would do is when I was fighting in the UFC, I would walk around 142 pounds. And I would have to weigh 125 pounds on Friday and then compete Saturday. So 2 weeks prior to the event, I will always drink 2 gallons of water. A gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. So you drink 2 of those at 16 pounds of water weight that you're having. And then I would drink that all the way up until the fight of the week of the fight. And then I'll cut off my water consumption Thursday around 3 o'clock. So what you're doing there, when you're drinking the water for 2 weeks straight, that much water, you're basically overloading your body with all that water, and your body gets used to just pissing that water out every day. It's like, oh, he's gonna drink 2 gallons of water. We're gonna keep on pissing, and then on that Thursday you stop, and then you start working out. Granted, you're working out the whole entire time. Your body's like, well, he's gonna drink 2 gallons of water, so we just keep on pissing and keep on pissing. While you're doing that 2 gallons of water throughout the week, you're also dieting. So I'll have my carbohydrates in the morning, with oatmeal in the morning, and then I'll have carbs in the afternoon. And when it comes to nighttime, you don't need carbs when you go to bed. I'll just have a form of protein to keep the muscles good, and I'll have a form of greens just to make sure my system is getting some more vitamins in me, and I can still, you know, pass the stool. Then eventually, when it comes the morning of, I'll wake up probably 1:30 or 1:28 if I'm lucky. Then I jump in the tub and I basically boil myself. And it's basically when you sit in a hot tub, your body wants to cool itself down. So what it essentially does, it basically sweats all the extra water out. When you do it like that, weight cutting isn't that bad. But when you skip one of those steps, like let's say I didn't drink 2 gallons of water 2 weeks straight, your body's gonna be hurt because it's like, I have no water. Where we're gonna pull the water from? Or if I don't diet down to 130 or 128, your body's like, you haven't lost all the extra fat you have. Because the first thing your body's gonna do when you go into starvation mode, it's gonna go after your muscle, and then it's gonna go after your fat. Like what's quicker to burn is muscle. Then it goes to the fat. So that's why a lot of people are like, oh, I stopped eating, I'm losing weight. It's like, you're losing muscle because your body doesn't need muscle. Your body is very efficient of getting rid of things that it doesn't need. I learned that when I went to Arizona. I went cave diving, and they said, if you ever get lost in here, just close your eyes and try to find your way out. And I said, excuse me, that sounds fucking dumb as fuck.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. But he says, well, you don't understand. He said, if you walk around with your eyes open, in 2 days, you'll go blind. And I was like, well, how does that happen? He goes, well, your body realizes that your eyes are open and you're looking and your eyes aren't working. You can't see anything. And so when your eyes are using, it's energy consumption. It's draining energy. So your mind and your brain and your body will just shut off your vision because it's like, it's not working. We don't need it. We need to conserve every single ounce of energy we have. And so when I heard that, I was like, it makes sense with the body is that, hey, this person doesn't work out. So why do we have muscle? We don't need it. Get rid of it. Like, right. It's very interesting. Like when you look at the science of the body where it's like, if you work out and they always say you want to have, 100 as much protein as your body weight. So every day I try to have 150 grams of protein. That's what I weigh because your muscles need it if you're an athlete and you work out, right? So, yeah. But yeah, it's two ways. Weight cutting could be absolutely amazing or it could be absolutely miserable. So it just depends on if people take the right steps to make the weight cutting easy or hard.
Right. So it's just about dedication and not just about training for the fight, but also obviously like I would say that part of any fight is like it's so important to be in that right weight class. So you just also have to take your weight class super serious, right? You can't be overeating. You can't be overtraining potentially too to where you're not going to be able to cut back in time.
Exactly,
man. That's so chemical, bro. That's so calculated.
You will when you get 6 figures. When you get 6 figures to fight, you got to be. So it's just, like I said, I learned. I find it very fascinating how the body works. And once I started learning about it, I kept on going further and further and further because I want to help other athletes in the gym and my coaches. Well, my professor, he competes too, and he's never cut weight like I've had. He's fought at the same weight class since he's been 18. He's 35 now, 36. So he's unfamiliar with cutting weight. Like he can do it, but when it comes to cutting weight, can you do it and still perform at a very high level?
Right. Yeah, I imagine you cut it. There's ways to cut it, and you just completely crumble. Right, your body like loses everything, muscle, fat. And then you're weak. You have no energy going into the fight. Speaking, I kind of want to stay on this. Do you think that there's any fights recently that you know of? And this isn't a loaded question because I don't know shit. Yeah. But do you think that there's somebody that recently just looked like they weren't in top shape because of the way they cut, or they just fell off essentially at the end of the fight?
Well, I don't want to say it's this is more on the lines of weight cutting, but I don't want to say it's more catered to the bad weight cut because sometimes you have a great weight cut, right? But when you're training for a fight, your immune system is down because you're stressing your system the whole entire time, right? Like imagine when you were training for your Halo tournament and you're putting all those hours in, you're not giving the body the right nutrition, you're not giving the body the right sleep and all that stuff. Eventually you're going to get sick. Your reaction time is going to be fast. So what typically happens to us is we get staph or MRSA. And one of my buddies, Luke Rockhold, he just fought in karate combat in Dubai, and he ended up getting staph, and it just sucked all the energy out of him. He was like, I had staph, I couldn't get by, but I was able to finish the fight and win the fight. But that's one thing that can also affect somebody.
And he still won the fight. That's freaking nuts.
He still won the fight, but that's also something that can hinder your body. It's always the weight cut. It can be sickness. Like even Islam Makhachev, he had staph fighting Dustin Poirier on his leg, and he took a week off. But it's like when you start training at that high level and putting stress on your body with the weight cut and the eating and the training and the traveling, your body just becomes more susceptible to getting sick or just injured. And, talking back to the very beginning of the conversation of the podcast, you look at Mike Tyson, the training, the age.
It's got to him.
It gets to him. So it's all, like you said, it's all chemical science. That you want to keep your body at the best shape possible while giving it its adequate rest and nutrition.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Martha Stewart. I spend a lot of time thinking about dirt. At 3 a.m., at all hours of the day, really. What people don't know is that not all dirt is the same. You need dirt with the right kind of nutrients. New Miracle Grow organic raised bed and garden soil is so dense, so full of nutrient-rich, high-quality ingredients. Miracle Grow is simply the best.
Want to connect with a family member who doesn't speak your language? Then check out the language learning program Rosetta Stone on desktop or as an app. Rosetta Stone is designed to immerse you in the language you're learning through an intuitive process. Plus, the True Accent feature even gives you feedback on your pronunciation. And with a lifetime membership, you have access to all 25 offered languages. Get started today. Visit rosettastone.com/pod50 to get 50% off your lifetime membership now. That's rosettastone.com/pod50 for 50% off.
Dude, so you talked about, we were just talking about, how you started out, you're 18, you're getting your first fights, man. Like, how do you train to get punched in the face obviously it happens eventually, whether it be in the first fight or what, but like, what prepares you for that? Like when you're doing your sparring, like, is like the objective of those spars, like those early on spar sessions for brand new fighters, is it to get like the shit kicked out of you so you can learn how to take a punch, or where does that experience come from? Like,
Yeah, I think there's ranges of it, right? I think it first starts when you're a kid. Like when I've been in street fights before, so that's kind of checking that box off.
Yeah, you're right.
Checks that box off. And then when you start competing, like in like physical sports, like wrestling, it's you're grabbing somebody, you're slamming, you're trying to manhandle them. Then when you become 18, 19, you start doing boxing, sparring. And how do you get used to it? You just got to accept the fact that you're going to get punched in the face, right? It's right. Like, I always tell people, like, I hate when I go swimming and people are like, stop splashing. I'm like, you're in a pool. You're going to get splashed. You're going to get water in your eyes. Yeah. So the more you accept it, then the easier it becomes. And then, I'd rather get punched in the face than punched in the body, because face is just, flesh, bone, or whatever. When you get punched in the stomach or the solar plex or your diaphragm, it's like
your organs and stuff.
Your organs,
like a liver shot, I've heard is.
Yeah, liver shot. Like it just cripples you, And I think training with the right people helps a lot too, because you can train with a lot of assholes and they start to make you flinch. And when you start developing the flinching habit, then you're just creating bad habits.
Oh yeah.
In your career. So it's all based on the training and the people you're around. If you're training with a group of people you trust and you love and you have a good time, getting punched in the face becomes a lot easier. But if you're always sparring with assholes and training with assholes, like, you're going to have a horrible time.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Pass. I mean, I'm never gonna get in the ring. I'm too fragile, bro. I'm a delicate gamer. Dude, walk us through. This is. I've freaking been waiting to ask you this. Walk us through a fight day routine for you, bro. Like, your fight is, let's say, 6:00, like at night, or 8:00, whatever.
Yep.
Like what fight day, bro? What do you do?
Yeah. So you I think your viewers are gonna love this and laugh. So typically for me, I've always played games since I was in second grade. I mean, not second grade, even before that. But that's when I can remember the first time I really got into gaming. And when I'm getting ready for my fights, even when I'm cutting weight, I always play video games, because there's so much downtime in between everything, do interviews and all that stuff. So I'll wake up, I'll eat breakfast, I'll have my, my 3 eggs, chicken sausage, oatmeal, fruits, and all that stuff, get my weight back on. And then I'll wait about an hour or 2 hours. Then I'll go have a nice little workout, little shake through, make sure the organs are good and everything, the sweat's coming in good, have that first win. And then I literally go back to the room. I take a nap. I shower, take a nap, wake up, pack my whole room, just because I don't want to get fucked up, and then come back to the room.
Yes, dude. Yeah, okay.
And have a room that's not packed.
And your eyes are fucked up. You can't even see.
Exactly, right? And it's happened to me before. I broke my hand in a fight, and I came back, and I was like, great, now I got to pack my whole room up with one hand. This sucks. And so now it's just a routine. I pack everything up, and then I just sit there and play video games. I play video games all the way to the time they say, all right, Demetrious, time to go to the arena. I go to the arena, I warm up, I stretch, go through like the game plan, the execution, then go out there and whoop ass and chew bubble gum, and then come back to the hotel, and then I'll, get ready with the wife and kids. Not kids. That's before I had kids. Come back to the hotel, then head out and go party.
That's fucking, dude. That sounds freaking lit, dude. That doesn't sound too bad, man.
Yeah, it's great. I love it, man. Like I said, like when I would travel for fight week, you're there for a week, and it's basically I'm just there to train and do interviews. So you only can do that for so long. So you have all this downtime, and that's when I'll get most of my gaming in. But most of the time, like when I'm during fight week, it's either training, gaming, or doing interviews. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah. When you're in like the majority of your fights, how many would you say, just like a rough estimate, how many would you say were like you won? How many of those wins were because you caught a tell on your opponent, right? Whether that be you got him to start flinching and you set so you could set him up, or like you personally just found what his weakness was, compared to your coaches, right? The people in your corner, like giving you basically like this is his weakness, and then like setting it up for you. Like,
that's a hard question, because before you fight everybody, you watch video on them for 8 weeks. So you kind of get accustomed to what they're going to do. And then when the fight happens, we're both in the best shape of our lives. And so they're not going to try. The window of their era for them to make a mistake is very, very, very small. Like the window's open and closing. Right. And I think it comes down more from my style of fighting is that I bring the fight to my opponent, meaning that like I take risk and I force them to make a mistake and expose himself, and then that's when I usually end up catching them. But like I can honestly say I cannot remember a time where I like, oh, that's it, that's the opening, I caught him. It's just a combination of like the weeks of me training how to beat somebody, and then my body reacting to their fault, their flaws in their game. Right. Like if you ever play Street Fighter 6, you can find the opening of someone. You can see their tendencies. You can see their habit. But okay, but you can only find that if you actually engage in the footsie battle. If you don't engage in the footsie battle, then you'll never find their weakness or your opening.
Right. You gotta like just feel them out, right, and figure out like what they're gonna be reacting to more so than others. That's exactly. That's so to me, dude. That's crazy, because I can see like that's how I just know. Like it's completely different, bro. It's completely different than what I think it is, right? I'm sitting here and I'm watching these fights, and I'll be like, dude, how are you not like seeing the weakness live? Like, how are you not like setting them up for this, like in the middle of the fight? And I think in the movies and shit too, I feel like they set that up always, right? It's great for movies where they're like, like in their head, they're like calculating it and setting up like how they're going to knock them out and stuff like that. But it's never like that, right? It's like you're literally, it's like right in front of you within seconds. You have to just react. And that's crazy. That makes me I already had massive amounts of respect for UFC fighters and MMA fighters. And now it's just a whole nother level, man.
And don't get me wrong, there are some people out there who have the gift of eyes, and that's where you can see things when you're fighting. It's like, oh, I threw a jab and he swiped my jab. I throw a jab again, he swiped it. Okay, now I'm going to throw a jab, left hook, and see if he's going to do it, and he does. There are some times that happens, but it's typically in a world championship fight, like 6 years of my career in the UFC was all championship fights, right? Where you're fighting the best of the best. So when you're fighting guys at that level, they don't make a lot of errors, right? They make the errors when you're in the middle of the fight. But when you have the guys who are lower level that are fighting, against other guys who may be mid-tier or high-tier, S-tier, as you can say. Yeah. That's when you start to see guys like Michael Venom Page is one person who has the gift of eyes, where he'll see things and he'll capitalize on it in the fight, and he'll be able to jump on it. He goes, oh, I saw him do this, so I did it, and it was the middle of the fight. But a lot of people don't have that gift of eyes. And then I've never had the gift of eyes. I've had the gift of like just we're going to fight, and when in the middle of this chaos, you're going to make a mistake, and when you make that mistake, I'm going to be able to capitalize on it, and you won't see it coming.
Right. Oh, that's fucking sick, dude. That's sick, man. Dude, what advice would you give to aspiring MMA fighters looking to make it in the industry, dude? Little 18-year-old Demetrious is coming. You're trying to talk to him. What would you say?
Don't do it.
Like really?
Well, yeah, it's hard because I mean we can both elaborate on this. Like if you told somebody to jump into streaming on Twitch or
true, yeah, I'd be like, it's tough.
It's very tough, right? And in mixed martial arts, it's you got to win the fights. You got to be able to make money to be able to pay your bills and your insurance and all that stuff. And if you're working 40 hours a week and you're not making money, my first paycheck in fighting was when I went pro. It was like $250 to show. No, excuse me, $500 to show, $500 to win. I won $1,000. And then my second fight, it was like $750 to show, $750 to win, $750. When I won that money, I was in Alaska and I called my wife. I was like, I've got $1,500. We're going to Best Buy and buy a fucking laptop. Like, it's like, it's pennies. It's literally pennies. So
is it still pennies now? I mean, because you've been fighting for a long time. So
no, I mean, now I wake up and do whatever the fuck I want. I mean,
I know you're good now. I mean, I'm talking about like in if you were in the situation you were in right now when you were a kid, like right now when you started fighting, do you think that they're being paid like a little bit better?
Yeah, 1,000%. I think it's like the average salary for I shouldn't say salary, but the average is like 12,000 a show, 12,000 a win, right? But you made 24.
Much better, yeah,
much better. So don't get me wrong. This was the beginning. So when you
dude, it was the beginning of streaming too. I was making pennies, right? I get it. Like nowadays, the average streamer, if they're like that's pulling the viewers, they're making way more than when I was like 13 years ago. So
exactly, but at the same time, it's like that was like your first local pro debut is like $500 to $1,000, $2,000 if you're lucky.
I mean, dude, it's so funny, bro. Like that's dude, Demetrious, that's literally like that's like what locals were, bro. Like before you competed like an MLG tournament where like the first place prize, out of like 246 teams was $20,000 split 4 ways, by the way. Like you're you know what I mean? Your local tournaments. I remember, dude, like my local tournaments, like first place was like $750, $1,000 split 4 ways, by the way, which barely even covered gas in the hotel.
And then you have taxes on that too and all that other stuff. And so it's the same thing in MMA. Then when you make it to the big leagues, like just like in your world, and you win and you're the world champion, you're getting a check for $350,000 plus $40,000 in sponsorship. And then, so the money starts to add up. But to, tell aspiring people that it's a long road. And then if you don't make it to that point where you're making, if you're making $80K a year, and that means you got to win all your fights, and then let's say if you're married, you have a mortgage, you have health insurance, all stuff. That stuff eats away at that. You got to pay taxes, you got to pay your manager fee. It's a very, very hard life to make a living. But a lot of people like to live out their dreams and, live check to check. For me, that's why I worked 40 hours a week to sustain my income. So when I would win these fights against, Kid Yamamoto and Miguel Torres, and my fights against Dominic Cruz, all that money just went into a bank account. I just stacked my money until one point it was like, hey, I'm making 20 when I fight. And then I win that fight, that's 40K. Then I fight again, it's like 24. Win that fight, that's another big check. And then you're living inside your means, and the next you know, you become champion. So any advice I would give them, don't do it. Do it. Train mixed martial arts for a passion. Don't do it become a world champion. Don't do it to make it your lifestyle, but don't do it to just try to make it at the highest level of competition. If you enjoy your passion and you're good at fighting, your body will seek out competition, and through that competition, if you beat it, then your path will lead you to that. And that's what my path was. Like when I jumped in mixed martial arts, there was no 135 or 125. The lightest weight class was 155. And then that didn't have a lot of eyeballs and attraction. So they got rid of 155 and they just put 170 to 185, 205, 265, right? So, but now it's worldwide. You have promotions like One Championship, PFL, UFC, LFA, CFFC. I mean, now it's booming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. Are you planning on fighting anytime soon, man? Or is it's gloves hung up?
No, right now I'm just focused on jiu-jitsu. Like jiu-jitsu is a thing that I've been really falling in love with. I've been fighting since I was 18 years old. I've become a champion in UFC, held that belt for 6 years, just became a champion in one championship, defended that belt in Denver last year. So right now, I got 3 kids, married. I'm working on my building my brand. And I'm just focused on that because you build a brand, the brand outlasts me. It can outlast
your physical fucking body, and especially in your like. I feel like there is a way for a gamer or a streamer to continue that level, if you will, of like my body. Like my body's not going to break down. At least I don't think. If I was still putting in 8-12 hour days, like competing, I feel like I'd still be hanging around. But like, I'm just not. So, but I think it's super imperative for I would say for all athletes, including of course esports athletes as well. But like, especially for people where like you're basically giving your body away to compete in the sport that you love. It's very important to make sure that you're focusing on your brand and you're setting yourself up, your business up for success after the fact.
1000%. That's the biggest thing that I learned from the group. They did a documentary on, I think it was NWA, and it was Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, and all those guys. And they're like, we made the music and we loved it. But once we made a lot more money, we went off and did our own thing. Dr. Dre kept on producing beats. And then, he did, Apple Beats and all that stuff. And then that just took off for him. Ice Cube, he kept on making music, but he really wanted to be an actor and make all those movies. Now he has his basketball league and all that stuff. So I took a lot of inspiration from those guys. For me, where it's like, hey, I made all this money. I was very successful in mixed martial arts. And now I'm in a point in my career where I can pick and choose when I want to fight, not who I want to fight, but when I want to fight. And now I can focus on building my brand, the gaming, streaming, the podcast, all that stuff. And now I'm just enjoying life, especially when you get older, you have children, you're married, last thing you want to do is put be away from the house and the kids all the damn time. And some people understand it and some people don't understand it.
Dude, I'm right there with you, man. Like you're really like kind of striking a chord here with me. Like I had to, 4 years ago during COVID, I was like competing in Valorant full time, which required me to, obviously I needed to stream because that's how I was making money. I wasn't like, there weren't really Valorant tournaments yet. So I was basically streaming like 12 hours a day, right? I'd wake up at like 6 or 7 a.m., stream until like 6 or 7 o'clock at night, no breaks. And then I would end my stream and then I would compete off stream, right? Because you can't give away your strats in a game like this.
Yep.
So I'd play 5v5 with my teammates and we'd scrim for another 4 or 5 hours. Now it's 11 o'clock. Like I wouldn't like, there'd be days where I wouldn't even see Jess, right? Like I wouldn't even see my wife. And it's like, that just had to stop, right? It came to a point where I'm like, I've been doing this forever.
It's just not worth it. Like even when I started streaming when I first started streaming on Twitch and I was full-time fighter, what I would do is I would wake up, go to the gym, do my first strength and conditioning workout from 11 to like 12:30, go get lunch from 1:30 to 4 o'clock. I would stream on Twitch on like on a laptop at the gym. Then after that, I will go from 4:30 to 6:30, train Muay Thai, kickboxing, whatever. Drive home. I live an hour away from the gym. Once I got home, I would kiss my wife, have dinner with her, go downstairs and grind on Twitch. And I maybe got to like 2,300 subs. And I was like, and after I got done, I got the check at the end of the month. I was like, why the fuck? I hate gaming now. Like, it's like, I'm trying so hard. I got to play this game, da. And so for me, it was like, it's not worth it. So I can only imagine for you when you're, a pro and it's like, you got to do 8. And that's the thing with gaming. You can do 8 to 12 hours a day gaming. You can't do 8 to 12 hours a day of fucking fighting. Your body will fall apart.
Right. So mentally, I'm falling apart. I'll tell you that right now.
Exactly, right? And so there's some grace with MMA and working out and training. Like I did fucking, I don't know how many, I trained for like an hour and a half, 2 hours this morning of hard rounds of jiu-jitsu, getting my body ready for Worlds, which is a competition at the end of August. Yeah. And my coach is going to Canada and he needs somebody to cover class. And my kids do jiu-jitsu. So I'm covering my son's class tonight. And I'm like, fuck, I got to teach again tonight. And,
good luck, dude.
He's like, good luck.
Good luck, man. Have fun.
Yeah. So, but hey, you know what? If it wasn't for the determination, discipline, and me being successful in, mixed martial arts, then I wouldn't be able to have a beautiful home. My kids wouldn't have clothes on their bodies and food every night. So I'm grateful for the discipline and the sacrifice I made. But now it's like I like to just to live my life and just do whatever the hell I want, when I want, however I want.
Yeah, man, reaping the benefits, man. I'm definitely, I'm kind of giving that right now. It feels great. Doing golfing a lot lately and just chilling, and I've been trying to get back in shape. Right, I had a foot surgery like a couple months ago, and I've still been and now I just recently hurt my back from freaking golfing because I golfed for like basically 11 hours straight. It was nuts. Yeah. Anyways, it just feels good to have like time, bro. Right, like to have time is an amazing thing.
Absolutely. You worked your ass off for it, right? I mean, all those years you streaming, gaming, all that stuff, and everybody's like,
doing 12-hour days minimum.
Yeah, your friends like, you let us down, Ninja. What's wrong with you? It's like, guys, I'm like, how old are you now, Ninja? Like 28, 30?
Brother, I'm old, man. I turn 33 tomorrow.
Oh, so yeah, you're 33. It's like, guys, I'm not gonna stay at home and play fucking Fortnite all goddamn day. Leave me alone.
I can barely get past 4 hours of Fortnite right now, man. It's tough.
Wow.
The new season is it's not good, and I complain about it so much, so I'm not gonna dwell on it here. Dude. So what? I mean, you're talking about gaming a lot, man. Obviously, are you still playing? Like, what's your go-to right now?
Yeah, I put like 40 minutes in the Street Fighter 6. It's Street Fighter 6 right now. Right now, the gaming industry is dead. It's dead. There's no good games out right now. Street Fighter 6 is the best game of the year so far, in my opinion. I'm waiting for Elden Ring, the Shadow of the Elder Tree to come out.
Ooh, I think it's in like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, end of June. But yeah, man, like there's nothing out right now. But my go-to is Street Fighter 6. I need that. Before that, it was Escape from Tarkov. But, it always cracks me up. It's like, dude, how the fuck is it still taking me 5 to 8 minutes to get in a fucking raid? It's like, it's just unbelievable. It's like 2024 and it's still taking 8 minutes to get in a raid. I'm like, you guys got to fix that. So
8-minute queue is a long time, bro.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, I'm over it. So right now it's just Street Fighter 6. Like I can go down there, put 20 minutes in, get a good feel, get a good, release, endorphin release, and then be able to go about my day.
Dude, I think it's just like these game companies, man. They're just I feel like everyone's releasing games too soon, right? Like I mean, it's the way to go. Like everyone's like, hey, here's our alpha or here's our beta, or an early release, and it's not the full game, and then everyone kind of like. And it has like 1/8 or 1/10 of the content that it will have when it comes out.
Yep.
And then like everyone burns through it in like a day or two.
Yep.
And then now it's like, okay, now we go back to our bread and butter, right? We go back to our Fortnites, our Call of Duty, like Warzone.
The thing that's funny, like that's a great point you bring up. I was like, now it's that when they release a game, you think about back in the day, you get a demo. Right, yeah. That's how you test the games. You get fucking demo either on your Game Informer magazine or they will upload it up to like PlayStation, PlayStation Store. You get the demo, you try it out, and that was it. And granted, there wasn't a lot of.
There was like no content. If you're talking about content, it was like if you're playing Tony Hawk, you would like.
You play that's it.
Yeah, you'd run through like a map or a ramp and do a couple moves, and then it's like, thanks for playing.
Yeah,
and now it's like, here's half the game, but not really. Yep. And like people just burn through it, and then it's like, okay, well, we're ready for the real release now, and it's like, dude, like we've played the game.
Well, it's like let's take a good example of Great Warzone. The game just came out; it's not even finished. You paid $30. You're playing it. The game's not fucking working. The game is like, I played it for like an hour or 2 hours. I was like, this game's fucking horrible. I was like, why did I pay $30? Like, I think developers now have gotten to a point where it's okay to release a game that's half-assed done and ask for $39.99. And then when we start to play that, this game's not finished. Like, it's not finished all the way. Yeah. We need the funding to be able to finish a game. So I feel like there's a lot of, it's just different. Like
it's
I feel
different
like,
now. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I feel like gaming now is not what it was. Like I feel like back in like mid 90s, early 2000, maybe late 2010. That's when gaming was at its peak, right? Where it's like you get a game like Devil May Cry 1, 2, or 3, and you play the whole thing. You're like, oh my god, that shit was absolutely amazing. You're not looking for DLC content. You're like, this game was absolutely amazing. Or you play Halo 1 or you play Halo 2. It's like, this game is amazing. Now it's like, I beat the fucking game. I hope there's a DLC because, that was not that good. And the developer's like, hey, you got the first 10 hours. We're going to charge you another $20 for the next 60 hours. And it's just.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Elden Ring, though, right? You used to talking about the new update coming out. And then, like, now there's a game where they gave you, like.
Content. Like,
oh my God, content for days. And they never miss, by the way. I don't think there's never been a Dark Souls or Demonborn or whatever like that has never just exceeded people's expectations with the boss battles, the creativity, and just the open world
banger
exploration.
Banger after banger after banger. The only thing I would love for Demon Souls or Bandai Namco, that's actually the producer who produces the game. But only thing I would love for them to have is if they made it where it's like, hey man, like let's say me and you want to play together and we want to start a character from scratch and progress the story together. Right? Like, could you imagine if they made Elden Ring and gave you the opportunity, like Gauntlet Legends? I don't know if you remember that game from Nintendo 64. Like,
it sounds familiar.
It's like a game I'm a Viking. Oh, I'm a archer, or that's a Viking. And then you basically, it's like a over the top style. You run through these things.
Dude, you just unlocked dude. This is one of my fucking favorite games. This was an arcade game too, bro.
Yes,
I loved this game. I
think it was by Midway. I could be wrong. I think it was Midway or whatnot.
From 1998, bro. It was oh my God.
Yeah. So if they made it like that, if they just did like a spin off, like, because you think about it, like if me and you wanted to play Elden Ring together, it's like we had to get to a certain spot in the game, and then I have to summon you through a stone. You come in, and then you can play and help me. But you don't progress the story with me. You don't, and the game isn't meant to be progressed.
Right. It's just like it's just extra content, right? It's extra ways of playing with buddies, and I love that, man. I think that's actually a really unique way of not doing. It's not like they have to sit there and theory craft and create hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of content, right? Like, or days and weeks of content of creating. That this is something that they can this is more of like a coding thing, right? This is more of like
exactly where it's like, hey, if you want to put your friends, hey, like let's do. That's the thing that I miss now with gaming is like COVID-19 kind of made me fall back in love with gaming because everybody was at home, nobody could do shit, so it would be me and the boys, and we'd play Escape from Tarkov together. And we all started at level 1, and we would go do the missions all together while finding this thing and finding these quests for each other. Like, there's not a lot of games like that nowadays where you can play together and immerse yourself in a world where it's actually like there's penalties, it's hard. And that's the one thing I think Elden Ring is missing. That Souls-like game is missing where it's like, dude, like, hey, I'm going to make my character, and you make this character, and let's play from scratch to end. Like, you know how much... Like, one, it'll be fun, and the content that you can create with that, like, it's just endless opportunity.
It's a lot more duo content. I think they've done
exactly. Where it's not like, oh, I'm gonna call Tyler, get this thing. Where it's like, no, I'm logged on. You ready to log on? It's like Diablo 4, right? Or World of Warcraft. Like that's like kind of like that's the thing that they're missing, that MMO element to Elden Ring.
But they started about MMOs for. I've been waiting for one to bring. I've been waiting for an MMO to unite the world together, bro.
Yes.
Like one that every single one, like it has, like there's no barriers, right? It's not like there's people that play Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14. There's people that play World of Warcraft, right? But they don't play everything. There's not a lot that play all. And I'm waiting for that MMO, dude. That you know what I mean, dude? Like Pokemon Go. I don't know if you remember the Pokemon Go surge when it felt like we were at world peace. Everyone was walking around playing Pokemon Go. If they had their phone out while they were walking, they were playing that game. I'm waiting for the MMO like that to come out, where everyone and their grandmother's playing.
Yeah, hopefully Ashes of Creation is a good one. You have Chrono Odyssey that's coming out. It's supposed to be a good one. I love Final Fantasy 14. I put so many hours into that game. It was absolutely amazing, but I agree with you. Like, I think when it comes to MMOs or Elden Ring, I think that's the thing they're missing is just the MMO, right? Where it's like...
Yeah, I mean, dude, that would be... Dude, first off, just... That would be astronomical if they could pull that off. Because... the world already is there, like the beauty of the world, like running around and like they have the what's the word I'm looking for? They have the outline, right?
Yeah.
Like just throw in like some more missions and maybe like some more like I guess content, right? And like things to do, because like what are you gonna do in Elden Ring, right? You run around and you kill shit, but that's not what an MMO is, right? MMOs are about gear and farming and like notorious monsters and raids and things like that. So and dude, just imagine, bro. Could you imagine a high tier like raid boss in Elden Ring where you need 16 people to kill it, right?
That'd be madness.
Dude, people are already choking one-on-one, right? It's taking people forever to beat it when it's just one person right now. Imagine they design a boss where it's like, hey, by the way, this is designed for 18 people to kill.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't know if you looked into the game called Chrono Odyssey, but it's kind of like that. Like it's just
I have it in front of me right now. I Googled it, what you just said, so I'll be checking it out after.
Yeah, check that out. And like some of the gameplay trailer looks just like that, where it's like a massive boss. You have all these different people here trying to fight the boss, and you can go off on your own. And that's the thing that I feel that like, you know, when you look at Final Fantasy 14, like that game was amazing. The graphics were absolutely amazing, but it had like it had a HUD where you do your combos or whatever, right? Yeah. And I feel like with Chrono Odyssey, it's kind of just like Final Fantasy 14 with the graphics, but then it has like the gameplay of Elden Ring where it's like, hey, I'm gonna dodge this way. Oh, I'm using the blades, or I'm using, the gut sword, or I'm using the whip, or I'm a caster. Yeah. Like, yes. I think if they can add that in Elden Ring, or somebody fucking do it out there, like, I've never been a fan of like your entire spell bar like taking up half the page, right? Yeah. Because you know what I mean? Dude, seriously, as a viewer, right? When I go into a WoW stream or even an FF14 stream, by the way, I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? Always. Yeah. Like, always. It would take me weeks upon weeks of not just watching someone play, but them like enlarging what the spells are and explaining what each and every single one of them does. Yeah. Right? Because there's just too many and it's just so complicated. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's a huge turnoff visually, which I think that there's something to it, but I think it's also kind of like, if you know, right? Like when I'm around my buddies, I'm talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'm like, boy, I'm gonna hit your ass with that Malevolent Kitchen. They're like, what the hell is that? Or Malevolent Shrine. They're like, no, I just look at them. I was like, if you know, you know. I won't even explain myself. So, like, there comes a point in time when I was playing those games, I was playing MMOs, and then they're like, oh, what class are you? I'm like, I'm a rogue. And they knew. They didn't know, and I had to take time to explain. That's also me being an asshole, too. Yeah.
I get it, bro.
We're going AFK with Ninja. What's he gonna say?
If your child is struggling in school, then IXL is right for your family. IXL is an online learning program for kids that covers math, language arts, science, and social studies. Backed by research, kids using IXL are scoring higher on tests. It's no wonder it's used in 95% of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Plus, a month of IXL costs less than an hour of tutoring. Get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when you sign up today at IXL.com/20. Visit IXL.com/20 to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
Here you are, BPMs high, sweat dripping, body moving, tongue panting. You're working hard, real hard, and you're thirsty. You need vitamins, nutrients for peak performance and energy. And your plants do too. Aw, I mean, just look at the little guy. Water-soluble plant food from Miracle Grow is full of essential nutrients. Just a little scoop into your watering can and boom, instant feeding and bigger, more beautiful plants. It's kind of like a sports drink for your plants. You may have to suffer from heat, but your plants do not.
All right, man, we are honestly running out of time, dude. So we're going to finish off with these final segments, this or that, and some other questions, man. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, man. You can go in as depth as you want or as short as you want with these answers. All right, here we go. Who won the rap beef, Drake or Kendrick?
Ooh, I'm going to go Kendrick.
Okay. Console or PC?
PC.
What is harder, growing a YouTube channel or training for a fight?
Growing a YouTube channel. Training for a fight's easy. You just go to the gym, work out, and look at video and all that stuff. I think growing a YouTube channel, and that's kind of like my thing now, is you always want to focus. YouTube, in general, it's a news-based platform. Why do I say that? Because YouTube has a thing called algorithm, which you all know about. And let's say Ninja makes a big comeback to Fortnite and he says he's going to win the 2025 World Cup. and you do a video and then it blows up the internet. And if I do a video, I'm like, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I just saw the update. Yes, I know you guys are excited. Ninja is back in Fortnite. Algorithm is behind that, and then algorithm's going to get behind it, pushes out everybody. You have the hashtags, all that stuff. But let's say I do a video about Ninja now, and I'm like, and I'm like, hey, what is Ninja doing right now? Is he ever going to come back to, Fortnite, It might get 1,000, might get 2,000 views. If you were to post a video saying that you're coming back, breaking news, it's a news-based platform. So following the news and catching the next story is what YouTube's about. And I'm still learning to this day. The CPM, the RPM, it's like you do a video that's 238,000 views. You get a check for like $200. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, it's just building a YouTube channel is very, very, very hard.
Oh, man, that's a great answer, bro. And very descriptive. Appreciate it, dude. All right, sauna or cold plunge?
Both.
Nice. Leg day or arm day?
I never do legs. Legs are the one muscle on the body that are extremely strong, but they don't show the strength. Like, I have a strong core. I have an 8-pack. I lift my shirt up. You see that 8-pack. If I take my pants off, you see my legs. They're like, oh, they look like decent legs. But, I can squat heavy. I can, sprint. I do all that stuff. And when I played a softball game with DK Metcalf, one of the fastest runners on NFL, and I saw his legs. I was like, your fucking legs look skinny as shit. And I'm like, what's the point? I mean, my legs are strong as shit, but I don't see a reason to, lift them, especially when I'm doing jiu-jitsu, pushing people, kicking people, and elevating them. So never leg day, just arms.
All right, brother. UFC or one championship?
Ooh. I'm gonna go one championship because they offer more things to watch, right? Like if I'm looking at a pure base of what the company offers, I'll go one championship. Now I have favorite fighters amongst both these organizations, but when I think it comes to America, everybody loves UFC because they have all the drama and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a good question though.
Thank you, brother. Jiu-jitsu or boxing / wrestling?
Jiu-jitsu. I think jiu-jitsu is if you know jiu-jitsu, if you knew jiu-jitsu, Ninja, if I took you to fucking street beef or have you fight 3 people on the street one-on-one, you probably beat them just because you know jiu-jitsu.
Holy shit! All right, no. If I'm ever gonna get into that, bro, that's what I'm going jiu-jitsu.
But here's the thing with jiu-jitsu: it's very hard on your body. If you've never done jiu-jitsu before. What have you done any physical sports?
Soccer really was my number one.
That's right, yeah. Soccer. So soccer, you're very agile. You go with your feet, your hand-eye coordination is good. So when you start doing jiu-jitsu and you start grappling, your body's like, why are you carrying all this person's weight, Ninja? Or Tyler, why are you doing all this hard lifting? Your body will either, you're 33 now, so your body will be like, okay, well, we got to start, getting stronger, or we're just going to fall apart. So it's either sink or swim with jiu-jitsu at that age.
All right. All right. Shit. Jiu-jitsu it is, bro.
Yeah.
Date night out or date night in?
Ooh, date night out. I got 3 fucking kids, man. I'm going to get away from these little bastards.
Yeah. I knew it, dude. For someone, as I asked that, I was like, oh, he's got kids. I wonder what he's going to be. All right. That'll probably be mine soon. If Jess and I start popping them out, dude.
Hey.
All right. Heyo. All right. Some other questions, dude. In your eyes, who is the best fighter of all time?
Of all time? And you're talking about MMA or just fighter in general?
What would make the question easier for you?
We'll do MMA.
All right, let's do MMA.
I think MMA best of all time. That's so fucking hard. You know what? If I had to pick, I'm gonna go with and it changes from day to day. It's probably gonna have to be Khabib Nurmagomedov or it had to be GSP. Just the fact that those guys were so damn good. They never failed a drug test. There's never no trouble outside of the cage or anything like that. They were class act guys. I love John Jones, but when people bring up a lot of things how you gonna say he's the best in the world? And I'm like, well, yeah, you guys do make a point. So I'll have to go with those 2 guys, either GSP or Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Love that, dude. What would you say to someone going up against a professional boxer who has never fought before and only has 60 seconds to prepare?
Get it to the ground. Wrestle him.
Dude, I love that.
Dude.
I love that.
Like you see some people get in fights, and like I said, grappling. Like my kids, they do jiu-jitsu, and I tell them, I was like, guys, you can never compensate for 15 years of learning how to manipulate the body. Like for me, it's like I've fought people who are way bigger than me, and I've wrestled and did jiu-jitsu my whole life, and well, not my whole life, but now I could say 20 years. Yeah, so I'll say that's half my life. When you know how to manipulate people's bodies, it just becomes like. It's not even a thing. Like everybody's like, oh man, who win in a fight between you and Doc? I was like, guys, Dr. Respect is like 6'7", but like if he tries to run, it's like a giraffe running. It's not going to be it's not even going to be a fight.
Right. Oh man, no, I dude, I like that. I like that. Oh man, I love that question. That was such a great question. In your opinion, what was your toughest opponent in the UFC, man?
You know what? I'd say Dominic Cruz, because he was so big and he moved very well and he had great wrestling ability, and he never stopped moving. So for me, being a smaller guy trying to get to him, it was just very, very, very hard. And he had great wrestling too.
Yeah. All right. Alrighty. What is your guilty pleasure / go-to foods after a fight?
Ooh, after a fight? Now it's usually a burger and a milkshake. That's like my guilty pleasure. Like I love to eat. Now that I put on more weight, like muscle from lifting heavy, like I love to fucking eat. Like my body's like the other night, my wife goes, babe, my life doesn't consist on where's my next protein. I'm like, I know, I can't fucking help it. And I felt bad. She goes, it's like all you talk about is when your next meal is. I was like, I can't help it. So
I love food too, bro. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I get it, which is why I'm trying to be just a lot more active so I can eat what I want. Favorite video game now or as a kid?
Now, as a kid, you know what? It's always gonna be Zelda, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Like I still play the music or Mega Man X series, but I'll say Zelda because
Mega Man's also a solid series growing up for sure. The Mega Man games are actually very, very like challenging growing up.
Oh yeah. The X series was amazing, or 1 through 8 was amazing, or 1 through 9, excuse me. But like The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, because I still hum the music, I still listen to the music. And recently, I've been reading the stories to my daughter of the Ocarina of Time. And, you know, the other day, she was like, oh, Dad, that's the Deku tree. And I was like, that is a Deku tree. And there's Navi. And so I'll say Ocarina of Time. Like, that's a game that I always, you know, hold dear to my heart.
Nice, dude. Nice. How do you know when you're ready for a fight?
My heart rate and just I'm peaking. Like my body's just on a different level. Like recovery is good, endurance is longer, speed is on point. Like, and the heart rate. Like when my heart rate's like 42, 43 beats per minute when I'm laying down, that's when I know. Like additionally, my heart's in shape. It's ready to go. Like now, I didn't know my heart rate was this morning because my thing wasn't working. But right now, I'll probably say it's probably 50 or 48, just because
you're getting there.
I'm just overtrained right now. Like I'm just fucking exhausted.
Yeah. Oh man, this extra jiu-jitsu class tonight you're teaching for your son is also not going to help. I bet. Just in terms of wrestling.
Yeah, it's hard because like you know as we get older, you know when we move more, the body will respond, right? Like I said, like if you start doing jiu-jitsu and you start doing like heavy weight training, your body's gonna be like, okay, so Tyler's actually working out, lifting weights. And then you're gonna send out stress signals in your body, and your body has testosterone in it, right? Like your body's like, oh shit, like we gotta start putting muscle on, like we gotta do this. But if you never do that, then your body's like, oh well, you don't need it, so we don't use it. So for me, if I sit down and not do anything, then my body starts to get stiff, the muscles start to get like lactic acid on it and doesn't really move. But if I go tonight and start drilling, showing them stuff and moving around, my body's like, okay, let's get some fresh blood. He's moving again. So it's an interesting science. Like I fucking love the body, how it works. And I always love, like, that's what finds me fascinating now is like, oh, this person does this. I'm like, well, I wonder how his body is reacting if he were to do this.
Yeah. All right, man. Dude, we ask all of our guests these 2 questions coming up, man. If you had to delete all but 3 applications from your phone, which ones would you keep?
It'll be YouTube Studios, Charles Schwab, and Crunchyroll.
Oh, dude, incredible. Sensational 3 apps. Dude, that Crunchyroll was an absolute freaking W. Good call.
Yeah.
All right, and then final question, bro. I don't need to explain this to you because you know you're a gamer. But dude, this podcast is called AFK, all right?
Yep.
We all know it stands for Away from Keyboard for all you listeners out there who don't know what it stands for. But in your own words, define AFK. What do you do when you're AFK?
Getting another beer or taking a shit. One of the two.
Hey, listen, brother. Beer and shitting, that's the best way to unwind.
Or it's bio. That's what it was in WoW. B-I-O. Bio.
B-I-O? Nah,
yeah.
Dude. FF11, we call it WC, dude. Water closet. It's some old shit. I don't even know where that started. I think of some Japanese players would always type it when I was like 12 years old, and I always type it now.
I love that water closet. That's what's up.
Water closet, man. All right, bro, Demetrious, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I had an absolute blast. And just good luck with everything. If you ever need anything, man, just hit me up, bro. This was an absolute, just so much fun to do this, bro.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Anytime. And I hit up your producer, your boys, and would love to have you on the Mighty Cast so my viewers get a chance to listen to hear your story. Been a big fan of you for a very, very long time. Followed your whole career. And appreciate you having me on, man.
And there you have it, folks. We've reached the end of another epic AFK with Ninja episode. If you've enjoyed the journey thus far, please consider leaving a rating, review, and hitting that follow button. We have a ton of incredible guests coming your way, and I want you to be the first to know when a new episode drops. Until next time, catch you soon.
It's AFK with Ninja. Ninja's got a show. It's AFK with Ninja. The best podcast in the world.
Are you struggling to lower your bad LDL cholesterol, even though you may be taking a statin, swapping steaks for salads, and exercising while listening to this podcast? Ask your doctor if Repatha Evolocumab is right for you. With Repatha, you can dramatically reduce bad cholesterol and the risk of another heart attack while enjoying life too, because you're human. And with convenient self-administration, you can take Repatha in the comfort of your own home. Do not take Repatha if you're allergic to it. Repatha can cause serious allergic reactions. Signs include trouble breathing or swallowing, or swelling of the face. Most common side effects include runny nose, sore throat, common cold symptoms, flu or flu-like symptoms, back pain, high blood sugar and redness, pain, or bruising at the injection site. Visit Repatha.com or call 1-844-REPATHA. Talk to your doctor today about Repatha.
Hi, it's Martha Stewart. You know, I spend a lot of time thinking about dirt. At 3 a.m., at all hours of the day, really. What people don't know is that not all dirt is the same. You need dirt with the right kind of nutrients. New Miracle Grow organic raised bed and garden soil is so dense, so full of nutrient-rich, high-quality ingredients. Miracle Grow is simply the best.